Lesson 3, minimum wage and overtime. So minimum wage is the minimum wage that you're required to be paid by the government. And every province has a different minimum wage. The chart on your page is from 2013. I'm going to give you the 2015 numbers that you can add them in. Obviously, these numbers change all the time. They fluctuate. They usually get higher. So these are the 2015 numbers as of February. So if you're watching this video outside of February 2015, you should go and Google minimum wages Canada, and it'll show you the actual minimum wages per province. So if you need to do that, you should do that as well. But I'm going to teach this lesson as of these minimum wage prices. So Alberta is $10.20. Oops. BC is $10.25. Manitoba is $10.45. New Brunswick is $10.30. Newfoundland is $10.25. Northwest Territories is $10. Nova Scotia is $10.40. Nunavut, I don't know Nunavut, is $11. Ontario is $11. PEI is $10.35. Quebec is $10.35. Saskatchewan is $10.20, and the Yukon is $10.72. So those are all the new numbers. If he works for 40 hours, how much would he earn? So we'll take 40 hours, and we're going to multiply it by minimum wage in Saskatchewan, which is $10.20, and you'll get $408. So that is how much he made for 40 hours. If he was in BC, how much would he earn? So in BC, it's $10.25. So take 40 and multiply it by $10.25, and you would get $410. And then which province would he make the most or the least? So the least amount is the Northwest Territories, which is $10. And the highest minimum wage is between Nunavut and Ontario. They make $11 an hour. Okay, overtime is when you work above the normal hours. So normal hours are determined by law, how many hours are normal in a week, and then everything above that is overtime hours, and you have to be paid overtime. So many jobs, it's a 40-hour week, but others might have different regular hours. So we're going to calculate time and a half, and to calculate your time and a half pay, you would take your regular pay, and you would times it by 1.5. So anytime you find your overtime, you take the regular pay and you times it by the increase. So, example 2. Laura has a job in a warehouse and she is paid $9.86 per hour. She works for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And she's working on a holiday, and her overtime rate is time and a half. So what is Laura's gross earnings for the holiday? So holidays, you often get paid a premium on your shift. So for the whole holiday, her 8 hours is going to be overtime. So we first need to find her overtime pay. So we take 9.68, and because she's working time and a half, we're going to times it by 1.5. And what that means is it's timesing it by 1 because she's getting her pay, but she's getting an extra half added on. So when you take 986 and times it by 1.5, you get 1452. So that's how much she's paid, and her overtime hours would be her entire shift, which is 8 hours. So we'll take 1452 and times it by 8, and you get 116.16. So this is how much she gets paid for her entire shift. And her hourly rate is $14.52. Part B, Marcel works for a construction company and earns $15.82 for a 37.5 hour week. So $15.82 for 37.5 hours. He is paid time and a half for any time above 37.5 hours. If he works 42.25 hours, how much will he earn? So first, we're going to find his overtime pay. And the way that we find overtime pay is we take his regular pay, times it by the increase. He's earning time and a half, so we're going to times it by 1.5. So that's $23.73. Next, we're going to find his regular hours. Let's say his regular pay first. So his regular pay is $15.82. Now we're going to do regular hours. So he gets paid regular for 37.5. Now we want to find his overtime hours. And to find that, we're going to take how much he worked, and we're going to minus the regular hours. So 42.25 minus 37.5, which is 4.75. So this is how much he works for overtime. And this is how much he works for regular. So we're going to multiply each of them together and add them. So we'll take 37.5 times 1582. So those are his regular hours. And we're going to add 4.75 and multiply it by his overtime pay. So the blue area is overtime, and the orange is regular. So when you multiply the first one together, so the regular pay, you'd get $593.25. And when you multiply your overtime hours together, you get $112.72. And when you add it all completely, it's $705.97. So that is his total amount that he earned for the entire week.